Hello, everyone.
Hello, everyone.
Mm.
I'm
Hey
going to have
guys,
to leave at 45 after. I hope that's okay.
I I included the DCO as one of the items for
Oh, oh my
so
goodness.
like I do know Six Store has been doing that. And I did read about like I asked this question to Dan a while back and he said that's a requirement from OSSF. So I'm like, might as well start doing it for all our stuff.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Yeah, technically, we're all supposed to have been doing it, but uh, actually, I should. Are we starting our meeting? Maybe I should wait. It
Yeah.
sounds like we're having our meeting, so probably should wait for
Okay,
someone to start
okay.
our meeting.
But okay, yeah, right. But the reason I mentioned that is I know you if you're not going to be around up
Ah,
until a little
got it.
late, I got
Okay.
that.
All right. Why don't I move? Can we move that up to near the top of the agenda real quick? Because I'm expecting it to be incredibly short.
Yeah. I don't think so. I don't see why not.
Okay, I'll do that. And if we really want to be serious, we can even include there is an open uh, pack issue that is the expectation is it's going to be merged, and I'll add a link to that too. Okay. I'm sorry. Who's leading today?
Laurent is.
All right. You have this. you you have the con.
Yeah, sorry, I have always. Can anyone share their screen because I have audio problem with Zoom when I
Oh,
try to share
I
the
can
screen.
share the screen.
oh no. I'm sorry
Thank
you're
you.
having problems. Is that
Yeah,
that's not
it's
something we
fine.
on the OpenSSF have done to you? I hope.
No, 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 no. Okay, cool.
Okay.
Um, so shall we start? Or
Sure.
maybe wait another.
I
I
believe it's
think
your
we
show, so it's up to you.
I think we got at least we got enough items to talk about um, today. That's my 2 cents.
All right, yeah, we have a lot.
Yeah.
Okay. How many people do we have? 12. Okay, I guess let's get started. Well, thanks everyone for joining the Scorecard / All-Star OSSF biweekly meeting. Please add your attendance to the doc if you haven't done so. I think 3-4 people haven't. We can do that while we continue. Is there anyone new today who's attending the meeting for the first time and want to say hi? I guess nobody is new, so that's fine. So let me look at the agenda. So we have a lot of stuff. I guess let's start with Navin talking about DCO.
I think David is already here. David, you want to take that?
Yeah. Yeah. So basically, the OpenSSF actually in the charter it says that we're supposed to have all our projects doing DCOs. You're, I think actually probably a lot of you are familiar with it, but this is the signed off by name and email at the end of commit messages, and it just asserts that yes, this commit I'm proposing is in fact something I'm legally allowed to add, and this was a it's not hard to do, but the point is that this provides some added legal protections in case a project gets sued and that sort of thing. Um, so there's an issue there. The OpenSSF intends to add a little thing to whine about PRs that don't actually do it. So if you could, when you do commits from here on, when you do a get commit, use -s, or if you're just typing in the text, add signed off by at the end of the commit text. And that just says that, yes, I am legally allowed to do this. Either I wrote it or I brought in code from something else with a license that allows me to do this. See all that for details. Questions?
Is there a way that you can hide your real email?
Yes,
I
you
know
can.
Navin is
Yeah.
a pro at that.
It has to be an email you can be contacted by. It does not have to be your legal name. It does not have to be the quote email address that you normally use. It just has to be an email address that you can be contacted at the time of the commit. The point is we're not trying to force people to add legal names. I know there's a lot of sensitivities. That's not the point. That is not a requirement. In fact, if you look at the pull request, it talks about that. You're not obligated to, the email address just has to be something that works to contact you, and the name has to be something that is people use to identify you. It doesn't have to be what's on your passport or anything like that. I'm hoping, I realize I'm dancing over a lot of complicated issues, but we can get into that. But if we're going to really delve into it, we probably need more time. Happy to do that, but just I think that there's a longer list. So if we're going to delve in, then I would recommend we come back to this so we can give that more appropriate time.
Jeff, you have a question?
I don't want to delve into that, but quick on for the projects, do you recommend that we start using signed off by if we haven't already, just that, or should we also?
Yeah, we're supposed to anyway. Yeah.
Should we install the app on a repo basis, or should we just wait for the org level install?
You know what? Since it's coming up pretty soon, I'm not sure that's worth trouble, because then I honestly don't know what happens if both the org and the repo installs. I guess there is a way to find out.
Yeah.
But how's this? What I would suggest is just start doing the signed off buys. And if that's a problem for somebody, I mean, literally it's one line of text, and Get will automatically add it for you. And when we do this at the GitHub level, my understanding, the plan is to turn on some things so it'll be automatically in the web interface too. So we're going to try to make this
I think
painless.
it's already there. They turned it on, I think.
Oh, they've already turned it on. Okay.
Yeah, I mean,
wow.
when I do something in the UI, it just automatically says signing off, blah blah blah.
Okay. Yeah. So if we can just start doing that, no one will be shot if you didn't do it in the past, but the goal is to let's start doing this.
Cool. All right, so
That's it.
Let's move on to Navin's feature, which I think is a big one. Navin.
Yep. Okay. Cool. Thank you. So I wrote a design doc and made a small demo. Specifically, I shared the design doc with the Google group. So essentially, people who have signed up to the Google group should be able to should be able to read this. It's shared to the entire Google group, so anybody should be able to read this and comment on this. The goal of this is to essentially make the BigQuery data available as an API, as just a GET API, not a post or push any of that, just a GET, so that lots of, at least in my opinion, people can use this. So essentially to do stuff, I've given the reasons. I'm not going to read through this as to why, how it is, but just want to just give some reasons how this can be utilized for all purposes to essentially make life for people's life much more easier. And before diving into what the API should be, I came up with some of the critical needs of, hey, the API should be versioned, because we don't, I'm sure, giving an example, Scorecards JSON had an LTS so up until this March. So we should version our API so that if and when we break, we should be able to do that. Second thing is we should be able to access the APIs without any tokens, how similar to what OSP does. Give you an example. And last but not another critical thing is we should be able to support for very high availability because people are going to DDoS it. And should be able to support 2 to 3 million records. So the simplest solution from this is Scorecard cron runs weekly scans of 1 million records. We take that, I'm just going over high level overview. We take that the cron has an option to export these records to a GCS bucket. So you can say I gave out an example how to export this. This is the example of how to export something. Exports in this example, it exported about 3,500 JSON files. And I wrote code to take that and dump it to another bucket, which happened to be OSSF scorecard.dev. Again, this is not official. This is my domain. I just created something just so that to prove the point. And I was able to dump all of that, and here's the bucket size and what it is. Right now, I was able to dump about 1.2 million records with about 8.58 GB. And here's what the JSON would look like. And this is just the BigQuery data. This got nothing to do with anything else on this. That's what it is on this. This is my proposal. Essentially, they say, hey, this would be a great option to what already Azim and team are building on the other end, plugging this in with respect to the API that they're building on for plugging this data in. If the scorecard does not, scorecard action is also coming up with giving a get API and a post API, but if people aren't running the scorecard action, we should still be able to utilize this. I'm going to pause right now, let people ask questions if they have any questions.
So what needs to happen before the prototype becomes something that you'd be comfortable releasing? Like, what's the delta?
Sorry. Okay, so now this is my code running on a compute instance as just a console app. So this has to go into our cron. Then we need to figure out whether it needs to be a pub sub, how to run this concurrently. This took about 36 hours to run because it's sequential. It ran one single file on each one of that. It took about 36 hours to run, which is like, no, this is just to prove the point. Did I answer your question on that?
Yeah, it does.
Okay.
Varun, go ahead.
I'm just curious, what would the get request look like? So for example, like let's say a package manager wants to get the results for a particular package and a version. So is it like you can specify the package name and the version?
Right now, sorry, go ahead.
Or is it like, based on the repository?
It is based on the repository. Good question. Right now, for the we can call it .0, .1, whatever it is. It is only, I gave out an example over here. I can stick in whatever it is. I can say, hey, I want to take example. I want to get OSSF scorecard result.json, and that's what it is. So it does not have the package name. It does not have the commit SHA. It does not have all of that. But for get-go, we just have, if it's like whatever the FQDN is /version, if it's right now, it supports GitHub. Like right now, Scorecard does only GitHub. Tomorrow, if we decide to go do GitLab, we should be able to. That's the naming that we are thinking of right now.
Okay.
Did I answer your question on that?
Yeah, got it.
Okay. David, you have a question?
Yeah, I think you just answered it. I was worried, hey, is the API, are we making sure this API will support other repos, GitLab or,
Sure.
unique ones? And it looks like, I mean, since you've got the whole URL right after that, it looks like it's an easy thing to do.
Good.
Did I miss something?
No, you got
Awesome.
it right. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Shripad, do you have a question?
Yeah, no, this looks awesome, right? So I have one question. So the cron job is going to basically run every given period, and it's going to. So you are envisioning that it will override the existing record, or there is some value with the historical record?
Okay.
Like when
for now, again, for this V0, V1, again, we still haven't nailed anything. This will keep overriding. There is no historical. It's going to keep. It's almost like latest. So it's going to get your last current one.
Okay.
That's my vision of right now.
Okay. Maybe it might make sense to keep the historical data.
Absolutely.
Like,
yes.
Right. Maybe at some point, but maybe.
Absolutely. So we should be able to get from a commit shot, and I already did speak to Azim on this. Azim has a lot more plans on this. Sorry, I'm not going to talk for Azim, but that's the end goal. But agreed. Absolutely.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks.
Please, up until now, I've not heard it from anybody. It's a bad idea. If people don't consider this as a bad idea, we want to move forward and start working on this. That's the goal. Okay, cool. Lauren, I'm good. Thank you. I'm going to switch back to.
Cool. Awesome. Oh, I have a last question. Do you have like some sort of timeline of when this might be available? Like 3 months?
Yeah, like it should not. Like I'm gonna start soon working on this. It should not take 3 months and all. Like, it's not. I think again, I'm probably max a month, but still all these things have to be figured out and all that. But I don't think it's a 3 month effort. No way. There's not that much.
Cool. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so next item is about the protobuf pre-submit that keep failing. I haven't actually looked into details, so I mostly have questions. Is it rate limiting? I think at some point we thought it was, and it might still be, but I think Raghav sent a PR with another kind of fix. So maybe there were two problems. So I'm not sure. I'm just asking whether anyone has some insights. And
Raghav,
if we know what it is.
Raghav's fix took care of the Proto-C issue. Thanks to Raghav on that. So we don't have Proto-C failures. I was looking at that. Rate limiting is causing problems. Thanks, Raghav. Rate limiting is causing problems, and because I opened a couple of issues on this. I'm gonna unpack what I've been digging in this. We got about 15 dependable PRs, and every time I upload something and it gets merged in, everything gets rebased. When it starts rebasing, we got about 20 different actions that they have to concurrently run. They're DDoSing action runs, and so we're hitting rate limiting on that. So that is the specifics on right now. But right now we don't have, with Raghav's fix, we don't have any more Proto-C failures at least. I opened a couple of issues on this specifically. I would like to talk about them. A couple of things is we are constantly running for everything. There's a patch filter that can reduce our number of, we can, like on my work, use this purely to reduce, if it's Go code, only then run those things. If it's certain things, so we can utilize this. Another one thing that Laurent has, or another project, is the Salsa right now recently, recently moved to run await, which gives the advantage of summing up all of this into one single PR. So it reduces somebody else's time of managing 15 PRs. It also reduces data, like us hitting the rate limit. So I wanted people's opinion. I'm proposing that we move to Renovate, so that it reduces a lot of manual effort. If people want to see, there are like so many PRs on Dependabot, which is like, and they're constantly failing because they are running to rate limit. I'm gonna pause right now, let people talk.
Well, it seems like the real problem is the rate limit.
Yep.
I haven't had any trouble. I actually like having separate PRs for different things to update because, sometimes one thing works and another doesn't. If you try to bundle it all up, you're just increasing the likelihood of it exploding. But I do understand the rate limits are. It seems like there must be a better solution. I don't know what it is offhand.
We can have more PAT tokens. I think right now it's using my PAT token, so my PAT token is just being rate limited all the time. But if we could do some round robin with like bot accounts that we just use for this sort of automated things, maybe that would help.
You know what? I mean, we actually know some of the GitHub folks. We might be able to just get a higher rate limit, especially if I didn't realize it was on your token. Can we maybe use a different one specifically for Scorecard and then try to see if we can get that one bumped up?
We
Yeah,
do. We do have a bot account. Like Stephen created a bot account, but then we were waiting for OpenSSF folks to go get a license for us for the password manager, and it just didn't happen. But that'll be great if we can use a bot account instead of us using our personal tokens.
Okay. My apologies. I wasn't aware that you were waiting for anything. Who are you waiting on?
We hit up Jory, and
Okay, she's on maternity leave. She will
not
be
now.
back for a while.
This happened probably about 4 or 5 months before.
Okay, that's a little surprising.
I can follow up.
Yeah, would you? I would call up Jen Bonner.
Sure.
She probably won't be able to do it directly, but hopefully she'll be able to contact someone who will. Give her the details. We try to make sure things get done, but things do get dropped, and we apologize. So, let's get it done.
Cool. Thank you.
I mean, if
This
there's
is
a better
Crow.
solution, I'm all for that. But
If you could add me on the CC to that note, I'll also keep an eye on it to help push that forward.
someone's going to keep us honest.
That's right. I want that password account.
Okay, I recognize Krob's voice.
Wow.
All right, so yeah, if there's a better way to do it, that's great. But just if there's something we can do that actually, kill problems, I'm all for it.
Back to the Renovate. So we're trying to use it on the Salsa repo, as Navin said. I haven't had the time yet to play around with the configuration. But Navin is right that they have a configuration where you can select grouping. I don't know what they call for multiple dependencies. They also have another open feature, which is related to that, where you can batch pull requests together. And I feel that would also help people who have hash pinning, because we ask people to do hash pinning, but the reality is it's really, really tough with all these pull requests that come in. So if you could batch PR in a way, it would be great. And they have a feature there that has been open for 6 months. And I was thinking that if we could fund them to do this, that would actually help a lot of people, including us, because it's otherwise it's really difficult.
Is
it takes
Renovate
a
an
lot
open
of
source
time.
software project?
It is, yes.
Oh, okay. mean, I can't promise money, but I mean, that doesn't seem like a crazy request.
I can forward the issue to you, the one that they have open. If you Google batched PR renovated bot, you should find it. They have two open, one that is closed and one that is open because they had duplicates. But you should at least find one and get the link. I can find it for you otherwise.
Okay.
Yeah, I use Renovate internally for a lot of my project, and I really like that. I mean, their configurations is very seamless, and it's definitely I had better experience than Dependabot.
And I think also something that would be really useful is if you can have a template on the OpenSSF of, how to configure it and like a good default configuration, because that also takes time. And they have docs, but they didn't pick up on everything that we wanted to do, for example, even though they have some heuristics. So having that would also help, like if you have 2-3 templates, one where you have pinning everywhere, maybe one where you don't do pinning everywhere, but you use another sort of grouping to help like ready-made things so that people don't have to go through the docs, and this sort of things would be also super helpful. So if you have some experience on this, I think that'd be really useful.
So they have a similar approach where you create a directory called .white source and then put that configuration file inside it. And so we can definitely create a template out of this and use it.
I think, David, that's something that could go in the best practice working group, maybe to be proposed to help.
Either that or the supply chain integrity, to be honest. But yeah, best practices seems plausible. And Krob's right here. He's the working group lead. So
yeah, I know. I know.
I'm just collecting action items. I'll stop showing up to this stuff now.
Hasn't stopped me.
Okay.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, typically we don't do that, but I know of no law against it, and if that's the way to help, I mean, if small efforts will cause fabulous benefits, I think we should be listening to those ideas. We can't fund them all, but let's start by at least identifying the ideas, and and then we go from there.
Cool. Any other question on the on PR and like I think we're done for this protobuf era. So let's move on to contributor ladder definitions. I think Jeff had to run, so it's probably going to be David telling us about. Oh, maybe Brian. Brian, are you here?
Yeah. So I made an agreement that if with Jeff that if he couldn't make it, I'd do my best to channel Jeff as I represent this topic. So I can walk through essentially what the proposal is. Really, from this group, we would like to know if people have any suggestions, improvements, concerns, if it looks good. This whole contributor ladder is based on the idea that we are going to keep scaling up our community of people that are contributing to projects, both All-Star and Scorecard, but we're starting with All-Star. There is a table in the GitHub issue that you're seeing that really lays out the prereqs and the expectations and the access levels that go with being a contributor. And so you'll see 3 basic levels here. Essentially, your ability to approve and give write access goes up as you move down that list. When you're just a member, you're essentially getting a badge on your GitHub profile saying that you're a contributor to All-Star. And you can become a member if you're actively participating in any sorts of discussions, or you're actively contributing to the project. As you start to take on a little bit more responsibility, and you've basically shown that you're an active and trusted member of the All-Star community, moving up to approver for people that are interested in that would allow any approver to accept pull requests, to have write and push access, and essentially to be, kind of one level below a maintainer, where a maintainer is somewhat self-explanatory, full access ownership, can make final decisions on any large proposals and features. At this point, we're still a small group, relatively speaking. This is just us getting something in place so that as people come along and would like to contribute and are asking, how can they go about kind of graduating up the ladder, we have a pre-prepared template to go off of. We expect that it could change over time, but right now having something over nothing is what drove us to put out this draft. And basically, if people have concerns, we can iterate on it. We can have that discussion here. We should also back that with comments in the pull request itself, if you have points to make. But that is the gist of the proposal, that we want to get an initial contributor ladder out there for All-Star, 3 basic levels. I'll open up the floor to any thoughts, comments, concerns at this point.
I love it. My only concern is that 1 business day. That's my only caveat to somebody becoming, somebody having that 1 business day is my only caveat that I see as somebody you're putting somebody into a fix. So if not that, this is really good. Hats off to Jeff and Brian for putting this out. We've been pushing this.
Yeah, I'll say Jeff deserves all the credit on this one. He put together the table and the proposal. It just happened he couldn't make this meeting, so I had the privilege of presenting it. I think Naveen, if you want to just stick that in a comment.
Absolutely.
Well,
I will.
that is certainly one of the more adjustable pieces, of this contributor ladder.
By the way, this is for the ladder for Scorecards itself, right?
It's for All-Star.
Just for all.
That's our All-Star itself. So yeah. I can't help but wonder. I'm kind of looking at this with the different hat on, which is I'm wondering if we should maybe think about talking about this OpenSSF wide. Not your problem, but
no, we already have an issue going on this. Like,
okay,
Stephen created this. This is going on. Would be great. And I see, David, you made some comment on this about DCO. But this would be great if somebody can take it up from foundation perspective.
Yeah, there is some work at the TAC on this, but not exactly the same here.
And I'll add that, effectively, if we arrive at a different sort of contributor ladder, OpenSSF wide, we would adopt that. If this is also a good, feeder proposal to factor into that discussion, I think obviously we can pull that into.
Yeah, I probably, I don't want to take up too much time, but I'll the TAC is working on a graduating level, but they're really looking at projects as a whole. So like, sandbox, staging, graduated levels for each project, which is different than what you're showing here. I don't think the two are in conflict. They just, they're looking at in terms of encouraging projects to do, to do various things. So.
And it sounds like that's more of a project maturity kind of way of looking at things. And, this is basically for folks that are showing up saying, hey, how can I contribute? How can I, be a more active member of this project?
Yeah, you're looking at individuals, and the TAC is looking more at a whole project, and which is great. Good stuff.
Do we have an OSSF badge for contributors or something that they can show on their repo? A GitHub badge or something? No.
I'll say, even though I said the words, it would, they can add a badge to their profile. I don't know that answer.
I have some experience in how to set up a badging system. Although, to be fair, one of the things that we did, we use Fastly. so that, a CDN, so that we're not actually trying to directly serve, so that the badge value changes as the project changes, but we don't actually have to serve the data directly, because otherwise, oh my goodness. So happy to talk on another time if you want to go down that road.
That sounds great. And I think giving folks the ability to just show that this is a project they contribute to benefits both ways. It's certainly good for the individual, but it's also just good for getting our own projects out there.
Yeah,
Then
we'll
you
have
can
to be
have a
careful.
Hall of Fame every 6 months, the best contributors.
Yeah, so we'll just have to be careful about terminologies, because we have a best practices
Yeah.
badge and then there's a scorecards badge. And I think that's perfectly
Yeah.
understandable. I'm hoping. I'm big on trying to make sure that different things have different names, because it gets confusing otherwise.
Yeah, I mean, in this case, we're talking about like a contributor's badge versus like a project badge.
Yes, okay, but similar thing, OpenSSF contributor badge or something.
That's right. Yeah, something that if I went to an individual's GitHub profile, I could see a little indication, which maybe is just org membership.
Cool. Navin, do you want to move your screen back to the agenda?
I had a question on that. Can you go back to that screen? Yeah, in here, actually, for the contributor, I'm trying to understand, the difference between the contributor, like as defined here, versus, someone who just creates, like, let's say 1 or 2 PRs. So, because there's probably a level where someone, let's say, just creates a PR once, and so in terms of the recognition and stuff, like I can't quite differentiate, because even if you get added as a outside collaborator, since it's a public repository, I don't know if that makes a difference. Does it make a difference? Like, for example, tests on PRs run automatically. Isn't that the case? Like, if once you merge a pull request, and next time they would automatically run for you?
I think it's a good question. I don't know that I can channel Jeff enough to answer it. I'm not sure if like on the scorecard side, I think there's a similar aspect to this.
Yeah.
Like if someone shows up and tries to contribute, my understanding is that tests don't run automatically until someone clicks a button. Is a maintainer.
Yes. To Varun, to that question, take example, I'm just hypothetically speaking, I become a contributor to All-Star, not an approver, not a maintainer, and Varun happens to do a first-time pull request, and I, as a contributor, somebody has hit the button to approve test to run, and because I am a contributor, not an approver or a maintainer, or approver maintainer should still be able to do it. As a contributor, I can hit that button that allows that individual that I can approve Varun's test first PR to run test. That's a difference that Jeff is trying to do.
Oh, okay. I thought, it meant the other way around, that, the test will run.
Yes, if Varun happens to do the first time PR to All-Star, it will not run. And that's when you need somebody who's contributor and about to hit the button, and the contributor gets to able to hit that button.
Just so my understanding is right, but once someone merges a PR,
yep, you're right.
From next time, their test will run automatically.
Yes, right. It's only the first time. Yep, it's only the first time.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other question on this topic? Otherwise, let's move on to
put it in the PR if you think of something right after the meeting that you'd like to bring up. Otherwise, I think we'll do our best to close it, and then we'll use it as the working model unless something else changes.
I I just want to say we should try this in All-Star for a month or two before moving to Scorecard, just so that we get people's feedback. That's my only con. That's only my only thing. But I really like it.
Okay, thanks everyone. So let's move on to the last item of today, presented by Aiden. Aiden.
Yeah. Hi everyone. I just want to give a quick update on the feature I'm working on. So for people who are not in the the last meeting, you can refer to the design doc and the figure in our last agenda. So so currently I'm adding the unit test and the end-to-end test to the function API. So you can see the function there following the API's link. The link, yeah, it should be this one. So this is not like what it will be look like in the version 0, but like using this API, we can get the dependency changes of the 2 code commits, along with the scorecard check for like every dependency. So I think the version 0, like the first version, will be merged into the scorecard repo pretty soon. And I think like next steps, I think maybe All-Star could use this to enforce his policies. And the next step I'm going to do is to use this API in the scorecard action repo to visualize the dependency changes in the PR. So yeah, I think that would be the version 0 of this feature. And for like version 1, after the Vince API is in production, I can use the API to replace the the current like the current code in version 0. So in version 0, I'm basically running the scorecard checks on every dependency, and that would be pretty time consuming. So I hope like in future versions, I can use the REST API to replace this part. And another thing in future versions might be use the REST API and use the BigQuery dataset to find the source, like the source repo URLs for the dependencies. Like the current issue of the GitHub dependency review API is that, like in my testing, when I have like about 100 dependencies, about like 20% of them will like have an invalid URL or just doesn't have a URL. So I think like in future versions, we can also use the REST API to supplement the source repo URL for those dependencies. And like the last thing is maybe we can change the dependency diff source API like with maybe like better ones, since there are like some issue with the current one. Yeah, I think these are all of the updates of the feature I'm working on. So is there any questions or feedbacks?
I have a question on this, Aiden. Thank you for the update. Is this configurable so I don't like example, especially in the action, people should be able to opt in for this, like, or to opt in and opt out. Not everybody wants to do this. Is this configurable? I just want to make sure that's how when you plan your action that this is configurable option.
Yeah, actually I haven't started on the action part, but I think I'll make it configurable. Yeah.
Okay. Just want to make sure. All right.
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
Thanks.
So Navin, would you say this is an opt-in or an opt-out?
It's opt-in, because people can't, like, if I'm, let's hypothetically speaking, any of my pet Go projects have about 40 dependencies. Every time if I have to do a PR, and if it's going to opt out, it's going to run 40 times X calls. It's going to run out of my tokens. So people have to opt in to this and not opt out. That's the only reason. If it had been, if there wasn't any, I'm talking about 40 is because the transitive dependencies that could cause all these problems. If I have to pull in cosine, it brings in 400 dependencies. So that's the reason it'll likely fail, because of I'll be out of tokens. That's my only reason.
Right. Yeah, I think we can also have a cap on the number of time we actually run. Like we're not going to run it on 500 dependencies. Yeah, I think also on pull request, a lot of the time you use the GitHub token, so you have less rate limiting. Not all the time, so it depends if you have a pull request from a remote branch or from a local branch. So that could also matter. Yeah, because I think having it enabled by default would also be nice. If people start seeing it, and we don't have, like we don't have to show 500 results. We can say we take the first 10 if it's too big, or we just wait until we have the REST API to really, release it for real.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a good question.
So for the time usage, so like in my testing, when there's like more than 100 dependencies, I remember the version 0 runs more than like 30 minutes, and I didn't finish at the end, but hit the token rate limiting. So I would say like without the REST API, like running scorecard checks on every dependency might be a nasty problem. Yeah.
I have a question, not directly related, but the GitHub API, does it give us the transitive dependencies, or it only gives us the direct dependencies?
It actually depends on the the ecosystem we're checking. Like the thing about the GitHub API is it only uses the manifest file rather than the log file to give the results. And for ecosystem like Go, like the Go mod would include both direct and indirect dependencies. But like for ecosystem like Python, like the Python manifest file only includes the, I remember it only includes the direct dependencies, and all of the indirect dependencies are in the log, like the Python's log file. So yeah, I think this is also a problem with this API, and I've already issued an issue to the GitHub doc to ask about this. Yeah.
Any further question for Aiden? I think it is going to work well with the REST API that Navin is working on, so it's a good time.
Thanks for throwing me under the bus. Yes,
it's good. No, I mean it's good timing that.
Yeah. Okay. I want to give a shout out to Aiden specifically. I've been thinking about this all along, and Aiden, I saw the Aiden feature. I'm like, that weekend I hit up Lauren and said, I'm working on this offline, obviously. And thanks to Aiden, I got that. So there's something to push me in. It was Aiden. Thanks, Aiden.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Navin. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's it from me. Yeah.
I guess no questions. So we're looking for a facilitator for the next meeting. Is anyone interested in being the facilitator? I think by now you all know what that means. It's just basically what I did today, asking people on each item to talk about. So nothing very complicated. Is anyone interested?
We got new contributors to Scorecards, so So we can ask one of the.
Sorry, actually, I
think
just
right-
realized we'll all be in a summit 2 weeks later. So I'm not sure if we'll.
Oh,
I mean, we should still figure out who the next facilitator should be, but maybe it'll be a month later. Yeah, just FYI.
oh, so you're saying in 2 weeks we might cancel the meeting? No, we'll let people join, but the Google team will not be attending, or unlikely maybe. So maybe someone not from Google for next week.
If nobody else, I can do it. But if anybody else wants to do it, more than happy to help them go through this. Lawrence, take my
Okay.
name, and if nobody else, we can. If someone else wants to do it, I can give it to them.
That works. So we'll have Navin be the facilitator, and if someone wants to jump in instead, we'll yeah, just write it in the doc. Cool. Well, thank you so much, everyone. See you everyone in 2 weeks or 4 weeks. Ciao.
Yeah.
See ya.